the draft of the court's majority holding in Roe versus Wade is the actual decision. What impact will the loss of abortion access mean economically for women?
Well, I believe that eliminating the right of women to make decisions about when and whether to have children would have very damaging effects on the economy and would set women back decades.
There won't be a loss of abortion access. There might be restrictions in some states, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities for everyone that wants one.
So in that, you have Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, being asked about the likely economic damage that'll be done by women and other people, pregnant people losing their reproductive rights. And she says it's going to have a massive economic impact. Sean Hannity, who every day pretends that he cares about the state of the economy or whatever, cruises right past that and does what he's been doing since the SCOTUS leak. Ida, every day he's trotted out to say, why are you all freaking out about this? Why are you implying that anyone will lose their rights? Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change. There might be some reasonable regulations in certain places, but that's going to be it. Why are you freaking out about this absolutely unprecedented action by the SCOTUS that was so extreme that every one of them knew that they had to lie about their intentions to get onto the court, and their presence on the court is the product of more than a half century of right-wing activism and radicalism that has produced the think tanks necessary to cook up these lawyers, to put them through, one form or another of law schools and all that, and then eventually get them onto the court, nominated by presidents who invariably have lost the popular vote. And they know all along the way that the American people don't support any of this. But now the right finally got what they wanted, Ida, and Sean Hannity and others will come out and say, you're being hysterical. Nothing is going to happen. Why are you pretending that anything is going to change?
That's what they always say before something horrible happens. This is ridiculous. This could never happen is usually the way it starts. Sean Hannity, to his people and his followers, I always ask, that's your king? That's the dude that you follow? The man that after the Met Gala was so obsessed with Hillary Clinton that he tweeted about her more than 5 times within an hour. And it's just like this, the way that he feels about women is so obvious that it's just, why are you even in the conversation? That is what I want to know. And the other thing is, y'all got a handmaid on the Supreme Court. What did you think you were gonna get? And I'm not calling her that to be insulting. That is what they actually called themselves, handmaids, the sect of Catholicism that she belongs to. So for me, I just think, listen, I think it's really upsetting and it's very sad. And unfortunately for women, we always have people making decisions on our behalf who don't care about our best interests, are self-hating women and men who hate us. Because at the end of the day, if you can't give me my agency over my body, then you don't see me as a full realized human being. And that's what this is all about.
100%. Yeah, they're worried about like the economic ramifications. That's what Sean Hannity is. He's worried that if people realize what's going on, it'll hurt them in the midterms. And on the other side, the Democrats are like trying to figure out like, okay, how can we make this influence the midterms? And that's fine. This is a big change. It should have those effects. That ain't at the top of my list of concerns right now. It's about the actual thing that's being done. So let's talk about what's actually going to happen in a day or in a week or in a month when they do this. And instantaneously in almost half of all the states in our nation, the trigger laws are triggered, and Roe v. Wade is gone, and abortion is made illegal. Now we can speculate, we can try to map out in 1 year, in 10 years, in 50 years, how many people will be affected by this. Why don't we talk about in 1 second? Instantly, when they do it, there will be 300,000 people who theoretically will have their ability to choose the fate of the pregnancy that they then have at that exact moment. 300,000 will no longer have control over that. I find that to be fascinating. I've never seen the product of that sort of research before. It will be millions, sure. In a few months, in a year, it'll be millions of people, but instantly, 300,000 people, you better hope that you made the decision earlier that morning or something, because it ain't up to you anymore. It's up to the government, the small government, which they don't want to have any control of your life except, literally what happens to your body. As an example, in Louisiana right now, they allow abortions up to 22 weeks, with exceptions that after that, if the baby won't survive, or if there's a severe threat to the mother's physical health. One woman that they're talking about, they're profiling by NBC News, is one woman's baby is already viable, though she will likely still be pregnant in late June when the court's decision is expected. If Roe is overturned, all abortions in Louisiana instantly become illegal unless the mother's life is at stake. That's what they did now. I mean, now they're getting all fired up. I mean, those sorts of carve outs, we'll see how long those last. Let's see, in the United States, 13 different states have trigger laws that would automatically ban abortion in the first and second trimesters if Roe v. Wade is overturned. In most of the states, obviously, it's already illegal in the third trimester. And Aida, I wanted to throw this out here because I found this to be fascinating. The right is going to hate these graphics being read out loud. 84% of lawmakers who sponsored the trigger laws we're talking about were men. The laws had 0 women sponsors in 5 states. 12 of the 13 governors who signed them into law are men. 91% of the US senators who voted to confirm the Supreme Court justices that are going to destroy Roe v. Wade are men. They've been very, very interested in this, all of these men. We don't have a racial breakdown, but I think you can do the math for yourself. But yeah.
They're threatened by women. Women are thriving in education. They're thriving in all aspects. Black women are amongst the biggest group of people who are educated in this country. These white men who are hanging on to their last threads of power and their last hoorah, who want to, go back to the good old days and make America great again, to where women, people of color, and LGBTQ plus people were oppressed. I invite, I stay in Solution. I am inviting the people in those states who who are vehemently opposed to what's happening, relocate. I know it sounds easier said than done. Let their economies crash. Move out of those states as soon as you can. And I know it's easier said than done. I relocated from Florida to California, and I ended up unhoused for a little bit of time, but it was worth it for me because I would probably punch DeSantis in the face if I could. So that's just me. But what I'm telling you is we talk a lot, and true activism comes with action. And many of us have to put our money where our mouths are. Some people can't afford to do it, but those of you who can impact the economy of the state that you're living in, we have to do something. That is the only way that they're gonna hear us, because they don't hear anything but dollars. They only hear cha-ching. They don't hear people. They don't care about you. If they cared about you, they would listen to you and act accordingly to what was important to you and what you needed. And they're not doing that. And it is not just even racial anymore, because of course it's gonna continue to be racial because this country was built on white supremacy. But it's also targeting poverty and the people who can't. And if you don't understand what's happening now, and you find yourself in the future feeling like you're being an indentured servant or a slave, that's what they want. They want rich people to run this country. They want you to run yourself into the ground to continue to make the money. That's what's happening in the country, and it's getting worse and worse. And the technology just gives you more access to read about it.
And to be driven insane, yeah, there's all these people that are desperate for, I don't know if maybe they need drama in their life or something, so they get into QAnon and everything. They need these elaborate conspiracy theories, these groups of people operating the shadows to eat babies or whatever. No, is it not dramatic enough that you have one entire political party and the vast majority of another political party who go through a countrywide theater production every second of every day to get people worked up over issues that all of those people pulling the strings don't care anything about, so that they can stay in power, so they can stop taxes from going up, so that they can have unlimited money. These incredibly rich people who would never be able to spend the money that they have if the taxes were raised, have dragon sickness, they've lost their minds, and they need more fictional digital zeros at the end of their bank account. And because of that, everything in America is weak. That seems dramatic enough to me, but I guess it isn't good enough for them. By the way, though, men are obviously a big portion of the problem here, but let's be clear, as you were talking about the co-opting and all that, there are right-wing women who are lining up to be a part of this. Idaho's lieutenant governor is calling for a special session of the state legislature to remove all exceptions from their abortion trigger law so that it'll be ready to go when Roe v. Wade is canceled. Wait a second, you might say, I don't know exactly what that headline means. Let me make it clear to you. Right now in their trigger law, there are 3 exceptions. If you've been raped, if it's incest, or if they need to save the life of the person who theoretically will be forced to give birth here. They want to remove all of those. Meacham is saying, if a doctor believes that carrying the pregnancy longer or trying to give birth will kill that person, you still have to do it. You still have to do it. I'm getting all of these right wingers who are attacking me because I've been tweeting recently about how the right is getting ready to start locking up and executing women and other pregnant people for having abortions. And they hate that. They call that lies. And so I point them to the primary battles in Texas right now where candidates are arguing about that. There's another state where literally in their state legislature, they're debating making that law. McGeacham isn't ready to execute them necessarily, but is ready to condemn them to death. And as I talked about in the pre-show, I apologize if you already watched pre-show. I don't want to be repetitive. Ida, they tell us it's murder to commit an abortion. They love executing murderers. Why are we supposed to believe that that's not the inevitable end of this? That they've created this special carve out where, man, I really hate murder and this is totally murder, but what are you gonna do? I guess it'll just be a fine. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go years from now. They're never gonna go farther than what they're saying right now. It's
all a function of the same thing, because the murderers you killing usually look like me or darker, and the people who are having these crises in the situation where they may need an abortion either come from my economic background, racial or ethnic. But you know what? I'm gonna say something very revolutionary, or maybe not revolutionary, but controversial. I don't want any woman who can't have a baby anymore making decisions about my reproductive rights. It's very easy to be on the other side. Well, you'll never be faced with that issue to make a decision about if these young women are able, or young people who are pregnant and dealing with these issues are able to make decisions on behalf of their own reproductive rights. You bigots, you are ageist. You have a war against younger people. You're always talking about how young people are irreverent because they're dare to fight for their rights. And they dare to come out. And listen, I'm a comedian. I have jokes about everybody, including younger people and some of the stuff that they do. But I honestly am thankful for the younger generations that have not only just opened my eyes to what I should be fighting for and am worthy of, but to have the audacity and the bravery to go out and fight for it. This is just part of that fight. You have these middle-aged women that are already past having children and are bitter and miserable because of the choices that they made. And now they want to rain that misery upon these young women and the decisions that they have to make so that they can ensure that they give themselves the best future that they can in a country that is set up for the average person to lose, not win.
Yeah.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.